Hi, I'm Lita Leapin.
And I'm Jim Gordon.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, folks, if you're watching the show this past Labor Day, and around that time, you may have noticed that we did a showcase on Canada's #2 tourist destination. That is Granville Island. Can you believe that? Yep, we're back there right now.
We're here in late November, and we had such a great response from our viewers that we decided to come back and showcase a specific area of Granville Island, which is the Creek House shops.
That's right. Now, you saw them in our last show. We're going to talk to Dave McCann, who's kind of the spokesperson for Creek House. That is all coming up on this Creek House showcase on Granville Island after you watch this. Well, I find myself kind of in the heart of Creek House right now with the heartbeat of the place. Dave McCann joined us on our last episode on Granville Island, as we mentioned, talking about Creek House now. Dave, there's so many lovely sights and sounds, even in this Creek House area. Of course, you can hear the hum of Ocean Concrete next door, which has been here forever.
Wonderful neighbors. They've been here almost a century.
Wow. Let's talk a bit about a few of the changes that have taken place since we were here only a couple of months ago, including the sculpture behind us, which we were here when it was set up only a few weeks ago.
This is The Family by Jack Harmon. He's done a number. He did the Magical Mile sculpture. He did the Terry Fox one. It was in storage in Surrey for about 10 or 15 years. It used to be a 7th and Granville. It's an iconic piece by Jack Harmon. And I was talking to Harold Monroe, the editor-in-chief of the Vancouver Sun, and I let him know that I'd heard in the paper in November of 2019 that they were looking for a new home. Mm-hmm. And I twisted his arm a little bit, and he very graciously agreed to let me put it here in the Creek House.
Dave's going to be back a number more times throughout this episode, and let's go check out right now more of Creek House. Now we find ourselves in Sandbar Restaurant here at Creek House. We're going to check this place out during the episode, but we are now joined by Leslie, who was in our last episode serving Dave coffee. Remember that one? Yeah.
And you do so much more here, but that is an important role. Leslie, you're going to act as our tour guide and introduce us to some of the shop owners here in Creek House, as well as the people you consider family, which is all of those.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to show you two around.
Looking forward to it. Dave will also be joining us some of the tour of Creek House.
Well, we were right beside Sandbar in a beautiful new store called Serenity West, and I'm here with the owners, and very excited to learn a little bit more about this beautiful store. I'm going to start with Acacia. How did this start, you and your mom designing these beautiful clothes?
Well, back in 2017, my mom and I opened the company Serenity West. We've been online the past 4 years, doing a couple pop-ups around the city of Vancouver. And then one day a few months ago, we were walking around Granville Island, saw this beautiful space was open, and we managed to nab it. So we opened in July.
Perfect, and I know Dave's very happy to have you here. What a beautiful store, and it's a perfect addition to the family here in Creek House. So tell us a little bit about kind of your principles of your designs here and the fabrics, what you use.
Well, basically we started with, we thought it was very important to start with natural fibers. It represented the West Coast the best, our lifestyle here, and we wanted to fulfill that niche. So we deal with, all natural fibers, linens, wools, cottons, and bamboos. And that's really our focus, and trying to make everything classic, timeless, that will work with everybody's wardrobe. And we're also starting to work in some menswear. So men's short sleeve shirts and long sleeve shirts for the winter and summer.
Darren, tell us a little bit about your beginnings and what this has evolved into here at the Soap Gallery.
Oh, well, thanks for coming, you guys. It is the Granville Island Soap Gallery. We've been here now almost 12 years.
Oh, well, Cam had to tell you that.
Yeah, I don't remember dates, honest to God. So it's great. We've been here almost 12 years. Granville Island is a spectacular place to be. We mainly make soap right here in the store. When I first started out, we made most of it, and now it's a little bit of a soaping co-op. So we bring in other soap makers, a lot of Canadian product, a lot of family-oriented businesses, women's initiative. There's a lot of great soapers here in Canada, so I like to use their talent, their style, and we sell it all in one big package, one big eclectic store.
You do, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Eclectic is not a great way of describing it because it's really beautiful, beautiful Canadian. You have a bit of a directive here. Pretty much 98% of the store is Canadian made.
Right, yeah.
And tell us a little bit how you choose the people you bring in.
Well, Granville Island brings in 11 million visitors a year, and they want to see stuff that is locally made. If they can see it being made in the store, it's great. I'm not here every day doing that, but it's all about handmade, locally made, great ingredients, low carbon footprint. If you look around my store, it's a bit of pride, but it's also, you know, a necessity. Everything in here is secondhand, reused, repurposed, gotten on Craigslist from my house, given to me by mom. You know, it really is just sort of a funky, fun shop. And hopefully when people come, they have a great experience.
Well, I clearly won the toy cost, and my mouth was full of pistachio ice cream. I'm spitting. It's all great, but I'm here at G Gelato Coffee House with the owner. It's Mr. Kim. How many flavors do you have of gelato here?
Now the 18 flavors, and but sometimes we the rotation we change.
Right. Well, thank you for this, sir. This is delicious. This might be the best pistachio I've ever had. Come check it out at G Gelato. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're back with Dave, and we're upstairs at Sandbar, but this time we're going to talk about something that's very, very near and dear to your heart. Not that all of Creek House shops are very near your family, but this is something a little bit different. This is an ode, a thank you to the healthcare workers. Tell us how this came about.
I saw and heard about the demonstrations in front of the hospitals, and it just really made me sad that the people who take care of us, basically from the moment we're born to ease us through when we die, many of us, and everything in between, that they demonstrate and yell at them and spit at them. And I came back to Granville Island after watching part of it, and I just thought, should do something to thank them. And I was in Rogers Chocolates, and they had these wonderful little thank you chocolate bars, and I thought, I'll order a few and take them by St. Paul's and VGH. And when I came up into my office with my chocolate bar to eat, I saw online this wonderful piece of chalk art, very similar to this. So I called the artist in New Jersey and asked her if I could use the image. She said, sorry, it got washed away this morning in the rain, but you can use the concept. So I had Hillary Morris and Railsbury Alley here on Granville Island create this wonderful piece. I was joined by literally 30 or 40 businesses on Granville Island to produce this. We produced 5,000 copies of this. We ordered 5,000 Rogers Chocolates bars, and we've distributed them from St. John's and Marystown, Newfoundland, through the Maritime provinces, Montreal, Quebec City, Ottawa, Toronto, Kingston, up into the Yukon, all the way down Vancouver Island, the Lower Mainland, up into Smithers and Nelson.
Leslie has led Lead and I inside Rogers Chocolates. Boy, I could spend a weekend in this place. I'm joined now by Ashley, the manager in the store. Ashley, so much from which to choose in this store. Give us a little history on Rogers, because it is a long one.
Right, so Rogers was established in 1885 in Victoria by a man named William Rogers and his wife Leah Rogers. It was actually started in the back of a grocery store.
Wow, and of course the holidays just around the corner next month. Can you talk a bit about some of the ideas for gifts that you offer people for the holiday season?
Right, of course. We've got a bunch of different things such as Santa Clauses and stockings and milk, dark white chocolate. We've also got candy cane truffle pops. We've got our advent calendars that will be sold out hopefully by the beginning of December.
Very nice. Hey, let's talk a bit about those chocolates just to your right there. It's part of a wonderful campaign that was mentioned by David earlier in the show, and Rogers being a part of it.
Right. We were very grateful to be a part of the We Take Care campaign.
Very nice. Hey, listen, the whole island, it was great to see everybody jump on board for that wonderful campaign.
We find ourselves now here at Niche Gallery, and I'm joined by one of the owners, founders at Niche Gallery, Michelle. Michelle, you are known as the Rock Lady.
I am, yes.
Well, you have an amazing story for this gallery. Tell us a little bit of how this came to be.
Well, I spent many years selling my artwork in the Granville Island public market, and then I decided to branch out with 3 other friends, and we got a location in the Creek House. Started out in a little corner, just like baby steps, spreading our wings. And then COVID hit on pretty much the day we were supposed to open, which was my birthday, March 15th. And so we never really got opened, but kind landlord and other things, we stuck together. 2 of us stayed. And other artists, because we had known so many people over the years, had joined us, and we just carried on that way.
Wonderful, wonderful story. And you have some really interesting artists here. Can you very shortly just describe who is with you here in
Well, we have Sophia Clay Arts. She's having a show in the back right now. She's right here, if you can see all of this. And then my business partner Shima, who does the felting. So all the felted animals. But yes, they're lovable. I'm the rock painter. There's paintings here from Helena and, I'm going to forget everybody's name.
It's okay. We can fill all that in, Michelle.
And then there's the Granville Island Coaster Company, they joined us later, and Zohar's paintings, Yuri, so all different artists.
Well, I was feeling rather sleepy when I arrived at Creek House this morning, a rainy Wednesday. I stepped into Barb's store, the cloth shop, and now I'm awake and smiling. There's a lot of colors. Tell our viewers at home, and it's been busy this morning here in your store on a rainy Wednesday, tell our viewers at home what I'm looking at and what you offer the customer.
Well, we sell fabric, so mainly we sell it by the meter. People can come in and choose what they want. Or we sell kits for all the projects that you see in the store. We design all our own quilts, and people can buy a kit to make it as you see.
Got to ask you, because I'm challenged in many ways. This would be one of them. Is it a difficult thing to do if I come in and buy fabric for, say, a new quilt or a new pillowcase or something?
There's a learning curve to it, certainly.
You're being kind, okay.
But we do have stuff that is for beginners as well.
Okay, which would be me. What's interesting too, and this is a kind of a segment we haven't done in the rest of the show, where it's kind of a two-parter, because you're here at the cloth shop, but just across at Mystery Stitch Design, you have kind of a unique partnership with the guy there, Nick. How does that work?
Well, Nick came to work for us, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And he's always been a sewer, and he's very creative, and he decided that he wanted to learn how to quilt, and I think he'd been doing some. And so he came here and learned how to quilt, and then he took off and started doing the quilting part of it, which is putting the layers together and the batting, and you need a great big long machine to do a really nice job of that. And so he invested in that and went out on his own.
I want, if you don't mind, I'm going to steal you from your customers for a few seconds for you to take me over there, and we'll see what he does and how it helps you, and you guys help each other.
Okay, fine.
It's the cloth shop and it's Barb. We're going to go across the way now and talk to Nick. Well, Barb has led me into Mystery Stitch Design. I'm now with Nick, and I'm going to say Nick the Quilter is the name he likes to go by. Nick, this is a great store. We're standing in front of antique equipment, but talk a bit about what you do here, and then we'll talk about your relationship business-wise with Barb.
So I do any number of things on any given day. Primarily what my business is, I provide a service to quilters to finish their quilts for them. So when you look at a quilt, the stitching that holds the multiple layers together, that's what I do for quilters.
And I'm looking around, there's so many different things that you quilt. I mean, the jacket behind you, it's just phenomenal. And how does that work with Barb? So customers go in there and buy the material, they can come to you?
Yes. So the cloth shop is a supply store. Right. So they sell all the fabrics, they make kits, and they sell patterns to show people what they can make out of their products.
Right.
It's up to the individual to then actually make that quilt. Now, they could quilt it themselves, but doing a large quilt on a small machine can be very difficult and time consuming.
And you have a very large machine here that you do all your work on. We're looking at that right now. Can you talk a bit about that?
So that is my long arm. It's a Handy Quilter long arm, and it is 12 feet long and it's about 6 feet deep. So it was a significant investment in time, money, and space for me to get it, but it really allowed me to unleash my creative potential. So prior to that, I used to do quilting on a domestic machine and wasn't having any of it, so I upgraded.
And just before we wrap up, we're shooting this in mid to late November. By the time this airs, you will be in a new space, but still in Creek House.
Yes.
At the front of the building?
Yes, so I'll be upgrading my space to an office space on the second floor of the Creek House building. So I will have a larger area where I'm now going to be able to build a classroom, and I will actually be teaching quilting and sewing classes starting in the new year.
Very nice, Nick. Thank you for welcoming us into your store.
Well, I find myself in Dragon Space. It's one of my favorite stores on Granville Island, only because my mom is a huge dragon collector. She loves mythology. She's written a novel about it even. So I'm with Carmen, who is the manager here. Oh, what a beautiful store. Tell us a little bit about Dragon Space.
Well, Dragon Space has been here for 35 years. We're a myth and magic store. This is where the magic begins and people's imaginations start to wander around.
Absolutely. It's amazing to, just like you said, it's myth and mythology and magical in this store. There is something for everyone here. So holidays are coming. Big encouragement. Any of the best sellers here, would you say? People
Our
walking?
best sellers that we have, well, it's just fairies. The fairies, you know, the fairies, the beautiful artists that we have, and we have monster dragons, tarots. You know, tarot always bring people together as well, you know, for family and friends.
Perfect, perfect. A lot of crystals, a lot of jewelry, a lot of everything beautiful. So definitely encourage you, come on down to Granville Island and don't miss Dragon Space. It's absolutely gorgeous. Thanks, Carmen.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're wrapping up this Creek House episode upstairs at Sandbar. This is something we've never actually done on the show before as we begin our 7th year. Dave, who's hosted us for the last half hour, thought it might be a nice idea to bring some of the businesses up here. We've talked to the shopkeepers and owners, but now you're going to meet some of the people that run businesses upstairs. Is that correct, Dave?
That's right.
Okay. Lita, let's work our way around the room.
I think what Dave was saying is these are the hidden gems of Creek House, in the Creek House shops area. We'd love to hear from some of the business owners, and we're going to start with Murray, who happens to be right beside me. Murray, you are on.
Thanks very much. My name is Murray Goldberg. I'm CEO of Marine Learning Systems. We build enterprise software for the maritime market, so most of the world's cruise lines. We do Navy, we do Coast Guard, and so on. Software is probably a bit of an outlier for Granville Island and for the Creek House, but it's creative too. We love Dave because Dave has absolutely created a family environment here. When we moved into a tiny little office, and Dave said, if you grow, you have to leave. Well, we broke down one wall, we broke down another, we broke down another, and now Dave's actually an investor in our company, so if he kicks us out, it's his problem as well. But it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be, and we know Dave is always going to be around us because we have dogs in the office and we have candy in the office. So Dave's kind of like that unusual uncle that comes in all the time and eats the candy and pats the dogs, and I think we've got a good future here, and Dave's really built that for us.
Oh, Murray, you've been here over 10 years too.
Over 10 years, that's right.
Wonderful.
Okay, we're going to move down the line. This is like an old 50s game show.
We're over to Kaisa.
Kaisa, you are the owner of Kaisa Designs.
That's right.
Tell our viewers a bit about that.
That's right. I'm Kaisa of Kaisa Designs. I'm a goldsmith, which means I design and make jewelry. So I do mostly custom work, but I do also, so I do wedding and engagement jewelry as well as repairs and reconstructions. I have a special line that I make out of grapevines, which is quite unique. And I also paint in my space, and I've been lucky enough to be in the building for definitely over 10 years.
Over 15.
Over 15, yes. And I thank you, David, for that and all your efforts.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Moving down now to a man who is I'll say an old timer in terms of having been here a while, but 1973, 74, Dave Wetter comes in with Cornerstone Planning Group. Dave, you've been here to see, like this, David, you've been here to see this place really grow, but in a good way.
Yeah, we were here before the market became the market. So when we first moved in here, there was just empty buildings. And the fact the chain factory was still operating right across where the parking lot is now. So it was still pumping out chain and fumes. So it was quite a dramatic place to work. But we've enjoyed it here. Our firm does strategic planning and functional facilities planning, which sounds complicated, but it's basically a cross between architectural pre-consulting and management consulting. So we help organizations like public organizations and community organizations that need some help in terms of making a transition from one stage to another. So we help them with all the resources, including buildings. So we do planning work, and the family term is nice. We're a small firm. We're only like 10 people, but we feel like a family, and we always operate that way. And so this kind of concept is good.
Great,
well
thanks,
said,
Dave.
sir.
We're going to move on to Gary Van Dyke, and you have been here almost as long as David, so you've probably got some great stories. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Yes, I moved in here the day I was born, 36 years ago. Basically, we've set up started off as an architectural firm, and then we've branched off into interior design and art consulting. And now we do a bit of landscape design. And this little Creek House office has been instrumental in homes around the world. Buenos Aires, in Tokyo, in Singapore, and some other spots as well. So I spend almost as much time here as Dave does. So I think punching the clock, I'm right up there behind you, Dave.
Wonderful, thank you.
I like what everyone did on this side, no pressure on this side. We're going to move over now to the side, and we're going to talk to Jane Adams. Jane, visual artist.
Visual artist.
Tell us a bit about it. You've got some work behind, but we're also going to show some of it on the screen.
Okay.
So you take it from there.
Well, I moved in about 2 years ago, and I'm very comfy. I have a very small spot, and I'm surrounded by very lovely people. And my art is continuing to grow, and I have an online show in December coming up with Elliott Lewis Gallery, and gosh, I can't say I'm very pleased with having moved in here. It's a very friendly and wonderful spot to be. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. And quickly, before we go to Christoph, do you want to hold up that, there's some of your work right there?
This is to do with the hourglass, the time passing. Yeah, so thank you.
Okay, moving down to somebody who you're the only person I had to look up exactly what it is you do for meaning. It's quite impressive, but Christoph, tell us about all the things you do. You work with Disney, Pixar, and you're the only one here that's actually won an Oscar, been part of an Oscar team.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Yeah, I have a company called Luminance Software, also known as Lollipop Shaders. And I work, as you mentioned before, I grew up in Vancouver, but I was working for Disney and Sony and Pixar down in California. And then when I moved back to Vancouver, started my own company, and I still work with those studios, but we developed the software that kind of goes into the feature films, mainly like animated feature films. So we work on kind of the look of pictures, so we get a lot of cool concept art.
Yeah, hold that up.
Yeah, especially when Christmas is coming, the kids are going to be all
Mitchell
over that.
versus Machines, check it out. So we worked on this with Sony, came out earlier this year on Netflix. And I love these books because it's like, it has a lot of like the concept art that the real artists show us, and then I have to kind of make the software out of it, and it has to go into movies. So it's been exciting having my own business, being at the Creek House. I've been here for probably like over 8 years or 9 years. Started on the second floor, just renting a desk with Mario at Vancouver Animation School, and then we moved upstairs and I kind of took that space over, and yeah, I come down every day and love coming down to Granville Island and being at the Creek House.
Wonderful.
Well said. Wow.
Thank you. And we are on to Ali Spino. You are a full-service interior design firm, 1807 Design. Tell us about the name.
So 1807 actually stands for a date. It's the 18th of July, which is my mom and two of my sister's birthdays. So just coming full circle with family, my studio definitely promotes family and being together. So I think it's very fitting that we're all here today. Yeah, I'm a newbie, so I've been here for a month and a half. So
Welcome. That's just a bit longer than Lita and I, actually.
Exactly. But so far it's been amazing. I mean, I was working out of my house for 5 years, and you know, it can get kind of lonely. It's a little bit isolating. So being here, it's like being able to meet everybody and just having people around has been amazing. And David, you've been so accommodating. Everybody's been very accommodating, and yeah, it's kind of full circle. I grew up coming here every year and all the time as a kid, and so now working here, I can't believe that I have an amazing office with really cool people to work with, and I feel super grateful. So
wonderful. Well, I think what we've got through our time spent at Granville Island, Creek House shops in particular with David, is the real family point of all this, the family sculpture, and just unbelievable family feeling through all of this.
Well, this has been great. Dave, you were the one that organized everything we've done in this episode, including inviting everybody here. It's been great. You get the last word on behalf of Creek House.
Well, I've been here for just about 30 years now, and my company's name is Whiffam Management Limited. My lawyer and my accountant say it's what's in it for me, but I much prefer what Marion Boyd, the Attorney General of Ontario, said. She said, David, you picked it because why investing in families matters. And I've invested a lot of time and a lot of energy, not just in the Creek House, but in Granville Island and in my community. I'm very proud of what we've created here. It is a family, and I even allow as many puppies as you bring in, and I spoil them rotten. And Granville Island is an incredibly special place. It's my home, it's my happy place, and Creek House is very near and dear to my heart. And I'm just delighted to have you all as neighbors and friends.
Very nice. Cheers to that. Cheers, everybody. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Cheers to all of you.
Well, we actually have to say goodbye now. That is the end of the show. We've had a great time here at Creek House. And by the way, to our friends across the country, we're filming this on a patio in late November. There you go.
We always
got to do that. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll have everybody's information in the closing credits. Thanks to Dave and the folks here at Sandbar. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapens.
See you on the next edition of Our City Tonight. Outdoor wear for Jim and Lita provided by Helly Hansen, alive since 1877.
Soluzione Spa Products, a national luxury spa product distribution company located in North Vancouver, British Columbia.